Hi, and welcome to the third episode of The Outside Scoop. Now, quickly before I start this episode, I'd like to say shout out to Nick Hoops. He's an Instagram page. He made my logo. He basically talks about NBA. He has discussions, hot takes. If you're a fan of the NBA, which you probably are since you're watching this, go check out his page. I'll have the link in the description. Now let's get to the episode. First thing I'd like to start off with would be trades. Obviously, Carmelo didn't get traded to the Rockets, but after that trade, buyout, all of that stuff, he went to the Rockets. What did you think about that?
Well, first of all, I think that he made a ton of money for having a horrible season last year. Because the Hawks had to buy him out because they did not want Melo.
You're trying to rebuild?
They're trying to rebuild. They got Jeremy Lin, who's like a good older figure, I think, because Jeremy Lin is getting older. He's been on a lot of teams. He's kind of like Dwight Howard in that way.
Mm-hmm. Except he's not cancerous in the locker room.
Exactly.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
But then the Thunder did get Dennis Schroeder out of that trade, which was very nice for them. He's going to be very good. I mean, Russell Westbrook is his role model. He's going to try to be like him, and he's just, if he plays shooting guard with Russ playing point guard, even though Schroeder did play point guard and has played point guard, I think that's going to be a very good lineup with
he's
Paul
a
George.
Guard, which is great, yeah.
Yeah, but then Melo to the Rockets, I mean, Melo didn't have the best season last year. We don't know what to expect next year. So that's my only concern. I'm not sure if that was the best move for the Rockets. I mean, they did sign him for only $2.4 million, not a lot of money. And they did get Clint Capella back as well. I mean, the Rockets will be very good next year. Best in the West? I don't know about that after Boogie going to the Warriors.
So my take on it was, from the Hawks side, horrible decision because they got a protected first-round pick. I believe Dennis Schroeder alone was worth the first-round pick. You had to take on the Carmelo Anthony contract too. I think they could have gotten more for that. From the Thunder side, amazing deal. Sam Presti, amazing GM as we know. He traded basically Carmelo Anthony, who nobody wanted, and Carmelo Anthony, who nobody wanted, and a first-round pick for Dennis Schroeder, who was looking to get bought out. And Dennis Schroeder is a team player. He said he has no problem coming off the bench, which is great. That's the kind of guy you want. Get some firepower off the bench. Now, I want to talk about the Rockets, Carmelo joining the Rockets. I personally think he should join the Warriors because everybody thinks Carmelo's a chemistry ruiner and he can't fit in with teams, sort of like DeMarcus Cousins. I think he can. He just kind of caught up. He won't accept the fact that he's past his prime. He still thinks he's a 25-point-a-night guy. So, personally, I'd have preferred if he went to the Warriors. Do you think it was a good move, him going to the Rockets?
I mean, he's probably going to come off the bench for the Rockets. I mean, he underperformed last year. He just wasn't the best player, and I agree, he still thinks that he's, younger, and which is a problem. Yeah, he thinks that he can drop 25 points, and then he takes shots that people don't want him to take. I mean, I get why you want him to go to the Warriors, definitely, because him and DeMarcus Cousins are known to not be the best people for chemistry. But, I mean, the Rockets do want kind of an older player to kind of get the younger guys and
veteran presence.
Yeah, veteran presence in the locker room and kind of help the younger guys get better, like when Melo was on the Nuggets.
See, everybody says that Melo joining Rockets makes them worse, which I think is ridiculous. I think Melo makes any team better, although his isolation play does hurt the ball movement, stuff like that. I think it's a plus. I think he turned into a role player, and he just needs to accept that. Because he can, score. He's a great scorer off the bench playing against the second unit. So, yeah, that's my thoughts on the Carmelo thing. Let's quickly talk about signings. Most of these are very, small signings. You won't go through them in much depth. Yogi Ferrell to Kings, not much to talk about there. They were pretty deep at point guard. Don't see why they did it, but he is young, helps them rebuild. Now this one I'm very opposed to. Nemanja Bjelica to Kings, 3-year, $22 million deal. So he was supposed to sign with the Sixers for a mid-level exception. Then he said no, he's going to go play overseas. Then he lied to the Sixers and overseas because he ended up signing with the Kings for a 3-year, $22 million deal. Most of you probably don't know who he is. He played with the Timberwolves. Not that great of a player, role player at best. Michael Beasley to Lakers. This one we can talk about a little bit.
Most of
Well, let's talk about their signings in general with the Lance Stevenson, JaVale McGee.
Rondo. Can't forget about Rondo.
That's a big one.
Yeah.
Yeah, so let me hear your thoughts on that.
So, I mean, just the Lakers signing in general. So, first, I want to talk about Rondo. That Celtics super team would have not been the same without Rondo. If Rondo was not at point guard on that team, they would have not been nearly as good as they were. They would have not been. I mean, they probably would have beaten LeBron in 2010.
I'm not sure about that. He was a great floor general.
That is true.
But their team was pretty good.
Yeah, the Celtics did still have Paul Pierce and
Garnett.
Yeah, I mean, they were still stacked. They still earned their title, but it would have been a completely different game without Rondo on their team.
True.
So, I think that it was a great move for the Lakers to get Rondo, especially since they want Alonzo Ball to be kind of that assist guy rather than that guy who just drops like 20 points a game, especially with LeBron. And Rondo is great at getting assists.
Floor general.
Yeah, I mean, last year he had a game where he had 25 assists.
Playoff Rondo.
Exactly.
You don't mess with playoff Rondo.
So, I think that was great. But Michael Beasley, I mean, he's either like a 4-point guy or like a 30-point guy. You never get to that, like, the tens range with him. So, I mean, if there is something going wrong with the Lakers, or like some injury, something, he might be a very good guy to just come up and play and get points for the Lakers and help them win games. I mean, he's not gonna start. I think he's gonna be like.
Of course not.
Yeah.
Bench player.
Yeah, like he's gonna be like the 6th or 7th man.
Probably.
But he's still gonna get good minutes. He's still gonna help the team. And I think that it was a good move by the Lakers to get Beasley.
Yeah, so I love all the signings in general because they're a 1-year deal. They couldn't get that second star this year like Paul George or even DeMarcus Cousins, which I'm glad they didn't overpay for somebody like DeAndre Jordan, DeMarcus Cousins. At least they got some people to help them off the bench. Because if you think about it, their roster is really deep now. They have Rondo or Lonzo at point guard, which Rondo can help Lonzo grow and develop. Shooting guard, they have Josh Hart, Lance Stevenson. Small forward, they have Brandon Ingram, Michael Beasley. Power forward, they have, who do they have? Kyle Kuzma, LeBron. Center, they're kind of weak there. JaVale McGee. I don't know why they didn't bring back Brook Lopez. Great deal for the Bucks.
Yeah, that is true.
Overall, good choice. We agree on that the Lakers signing those players were good. I agree. This one's very small. Alex Len to the Hawks, 2-year, $12 million, I believe. Meh, honestly.
I mean, the Hawks are going through a rebuild. I mean, they need to get that 13-team roster somewhere.
Yeah. He's like a 3rd pick. I think they probably think, hopefully he has some untapped potential left. I'm happy Vince Carter got a job somewhere. Vince Carter to the Hawks, 1 more year. Hopefully he can be as productive as he was with the Kings, because he was actually a very good player with the Kings. And by very good, I mean for a 41-year-old. Now, here's a big one. Kawhi Leonard to the Raptors and DeMar DeRozan to Spurs. I know this was a trade, not a signing, but let's talk about it.
Personally, I think it was a horrible move by the Raptors. DeMar DeRozan made their franchise. I mean, they had Vince Carter, and then they got rid of him. And then they have DeMar DeRozan, who's made their franchise. He's helped them become a very good team, and now they've gotten rid of him to get Kawhi. And that you cannot forget that Kyle Lowry has the worst contract in the NBA, in my opinion, at least.
Probably top 5. There's like the Luol Deng Timothy, but you have a point. Like, he is not producing to his contract.
Yeah, and he's also getting older.
Yeah,
Like,
small point guards don't age well in the NBA.
Exactly. So, I think that they should have tried to get like Serge Ibaka and somebody else rather than DeMar, a first round pick, and
Jakob Poeltl.
Yeah, Pirtle, and for Danny Green and Kawhi.
Mm-hmm.
I think that they should have not given away their franchise player and maybe given away like Kyle Lowry. I mean, I know that the Spurs wouldn't have accepted that because
Right, they'd probably have to add more to
that
it.
is true because he has a horrible contract.
Mm-hmm.
But I just do not think that they should have given away DeMar. Popovich is just great because he wants to get good players.
He gets the best out of his talent. Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, but it also kind of sucks for the Spurs because since the doctor said Kawhi's okay, they could have charged him $20 million per game for not playing.
They could. Well, second
there are
opinion
rules
said,
where they could.
Oh, I'm sure there are,
Mhm.
but his second opinion doctor said he wasn't. Because, see, the team doctor always said, can he play or should he play? If he can play, they'll say play. The second opinion doctor always said, should he play, right? Because the team doctor wants the team to do good. So if he can play, they'll play him. The second option doctor will only play him if he should play, if that makes sense. You know, the difference between could play or should play.
That is true, but still, the Spurs wanted to keep a good relationship with him.
Very true.
They want him to stay.
Very true.
And then he ended up just saying, no, I'm leaving. I don't want to be here. I want to go to LA. And then they traded him to Toronto.
Mm-hmm.
And then DeMar got backstabbed by his team as well.
Sure.
The Raptors front office said, we are not going to trade you a week before. And then they ended up trading him.
He was loyal to the Raptors.
He was loyal. He idolized Kobe. He wanted to be like Kobe Bryant. He wanted to play on one team for his entire career. Right. And he thought that he was going to be on with the Raptors his entire career. And then they ended up just giving him away for a player who hasn't played in a year.
Now let me tell you why all of that he said is wrong. Who cares? Alright? Time for the facts, alright? Tell me if I'm right or wrong. Just say yes or no. The Raptors would have to rebuild in 2 years regardless of how good they do because their stars are getting past their prime.
No.
Explain how. Because, think about it. Trading DeMar DeRozan, sure, I personally would have loved to see Kawhi and DeMar play together. But, this is what they did. They put all their chips in the table for 1 year. Because they didn't want to turn like the Grizzlies or Clippers from a couple years ago. Remember how they always got like 50, 60 wins, and then they always got out in the second round or first round. And then they did again. They never got anywhere. Your goal is to win a championship. This year they're putting all of their chips in the table to try to win a championship. If they just kept DeMar DeRozan, no matter how loyal he is to them, they would have just got to the first or second round again, maybe even conference finals. They wouldn't have gotten a championship. And then they would have had to rebuild anyway. So they risked it for the biscuit. We'll see if it pays off. Even if it's a complete failure, I think it was a great decision because you got rid of the DeMar DeRozan contract.
Well, what I look at this is that the East is getting weaker and weaker.
True.
Every year.
Oh, I disagree. I think weaker this year is going to get stronger because of teams like Celtics, Sixers, Bucks, young teams rebuilding and getting better.
Yeah, but they're also playing not as good teams.
Oh, true.
They're not playing like LeBron and
that.
Kyrie on the same team like they were 2 years ago.
Right.
And you just cannot forget that.
Mm-hmm.
That the teams are just getting weaker. I mean, I agree that the Celtics, Sixers, and Bucks will get stronger in upcoming years.
Mm-hmm.
But I just think that this year and next year was the best chance for the Raptors to win championship if they're going to.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they kind of did get screwed over that they weren't going to win a championship when Boogie did go to the Warriors.
Yeah.
I mean, nobody's going to win a championship with a team that has 5 All-Stars in the starting lineup.
Don't get me wrong, you have a lot of valid and good points, but I personally think it was a good deal for both sides. Now let me quickly talk about the Spurs side. You said it was a bad deal for the Spurs. I think it was a great deal for the Spurs. Because
No, I think it's a good deal for the Spurs.
Oh,
I think
you
it's
do?
a bad deal
Okay.
for the Raptors.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that. Let me just give you more reasoning to why it was a good deal for the Spurs. So, you could have, from the Lakers, probably gotten Josh Hart and a first-round pick. Probably even more than that. Josh Hart, first-round pick, and Mo Wagner, and maybe, like, Ivica Zubac, something like that. But anyway, they were all young pieces, right? With the Raptors, here's why the Spurs haven't had to rebuild in the whole history of their franchise. Well, at least the last 25 years. They've always had a core for now and for later. Their core for now, like 5 years ago, was Tony Parker, Manu Ginobili, and Tim Duncan. That core's pretty much done, right? Manu Ginobili's the only one left. I'm not sure how he's still playing. Now their core was LaMarcus Aldridge and Kawhi Leonard. Now LaMarcus Aldridge and DeMar DeRozan. That was their core to win now. Yet they still had a core for later, which was DeJounte Murray, Lonnie Walker, now Jakob Poeltl, couple of other pieces, Davis Bertans, whatever. They always did good with European prospects that they drafted in the second round. Regardless, that's why it's a good deal. Because they get players for now to win and for later. Pop's probably going to retire in 2 years. He doesn't want to rebuild right now. You know what I mean?
I agree with that. But, I mean, you also look at this trade, and, I mean, the Raptors have a good bench. They also might have later. And that's why I think that they are not going to rebuild in 2 years. Because they have OG on their bench.
Norman Powell,
yeah.
Fred VanVleet.
Exactly, yeah.
No, that's a great point, actually. They have a lot of young pieces that are good. But they're all very, very good bench players. They have the best bench in the NBA. None of them will turn out to be a star. In order to have a successful rebuild, you need a star. That's why I think they're going to rebuild, because they're going to need a star. They can't just keep riding out with the old Kyle Lowry and DeMar DeRozan. But, yeah, I mean, those are two great points and opinions, and that's where discussion part comes in. Isaiah Thomas to the Nuggets. What did you think about that?
I mean, I think that's good for the Nuggets, but we just don't know how IT's going to play. Like, he did not play as well as people thought he would have last year. I mean, this is now his 4th team in 3 years. I mean, he was an all-star 2 years ago, and he's just been declining. I mean, that is due to some of his hip injury, but, I mean, I still think it's a good move for the Nuggets because IT may still be good. I think that he might have a good season next year. We don't know, okay? He was out for about a fourth of the season last year, and then got traded.
I'd say even more, honestly. Probably like at least half of the season. Because he missed like half of the Cavs season, or at least a quarter of it, and then he missed like a quarter of the Lakers season. But still, chunk of
and I think now with Nikola Jokic,
Whatever.
at center, I think that that's going to be good for IT to pass to, and it's going to be alley-oops, and I think it's just going to be good for the Nuggets all around, especially if IT gets back into his groove, and then he starts hitting shots again, good clutch 3-point shots, and I think that the Nuggets, who have been basically one win out of the playoffs for the past 2 years, 3 years, that I think that might help them get the 8th seed.
Go over that hump.
And make the playoffs.
You know how you said we don't know what he's going to turn out to be? Like in your points, you were saying, well, we don't know. Well, I know, okay? I know, all right? Listen to me. I know what he's going to be. He's going to be a shell of himself. 2 reasons. Hip injury. When you're small point guard that's aging, you need your hips. I mean, that he gets to the lane by like maneuvering through and stuff like that, and hip is a big part of that. Might not make sense to some people. Second reason, I'm not saying he's a product of Brad Stevens, but Brad Stevens definitely elevated his play. He was averaging like 16 points a game before he went to the Celtics. Once he went to the Celtics, he had a 22 point per game season, and he had a 28 point per game season. I strongly believe that was because of Brad Stevens. I think as long as he doesn't still think he's a 28 point per game guy and he's an MVP candidate, he'll help. Same thing with like the Carmelo thing. As long as he understands he can be a very good bucket getter off the bench as like a sixth man, I think it's a good decision for the Nuggets. If he starts trying to start and, try to take over the game almost, horrible decision. It really depends on how Isaiah Thomas reacts to this. Really dislike it when people say he got robbed of a lot of money. He's not even nearly as good as people think he is. They just like his story of 60th pick, always overlooked, blah, 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 blah.
I mean, one thing is also the Nuggets, they have question with injury because you cannot forget they did draft Michael Porter Jr.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have him
which was a great decision.
That was a good decision at 14th. I think that was a great pick because he was expected to be top 5.
Mm-hmm.
And then he got injured.
Number 1 high school prospect.
Yeah, number 1 high school prospect, gets injured at Mizzou, and gets picked 14th overall by the Nuggets. And then you have Nikola Jokic on that team. And then you add IT.
Gary Harris, Will Barton, Wilson Chandler. They had another guard I forgot. But the point is it's deep team.
It's a deep team, but it's also
Jamal
questionable. Because you have a lot of questions about the injuries. And if
Paul Millsap missed a big chunk of the year last year.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And you just don't know if those injuries will get in the way. But I do think that they will get over the hump and make the playoffs. And that will be the first time in
a couple years.
Yeah. They have been close. I mean,
definitely.
Yeah. But I think the Nuggets just have a lot of questions with injuries, and you just have to see how that all plays out during the season.
Right. I mean, I agree with that. Pretty small. Montrezl Harrell re-signs with the Clippers, 2-year, $12 million deal. I think he deserves a lot more. Personally, I really like him. He's a slightly undersized center, power forward, but he's basically Kenneth Faried in his prime, if you think about it. I think he should have got 2-year, $30 million deal. No, not 30, but at least 20. Yeah, 20. We don't really need to talk about that. It's another thing we don't need to talk about. Amir Johnson re-signs with the Sixers. At this stage of his career, he's a role player at best. Here's a big one we can talk about. Kevin Love signs an extension with the Cleveland Cavaliers, 4-year, $120 million deal. What did you think of that?
I think Kevin Love is getting older, and for basically $30 million a year for 4 years, I just don't think that was the best investment for the Cavaliers. I think that they should have traded him and get young players for the future, because then you can start building a core around Colin Sexton at point guard, who he played pretty good in the summer league.
Very good, yeah.
It is the summer league.
True,
so,
very true. You don't want to overreact to the summer league.
Exactly. But still, you should, I think instead of having an older player, they should have traded Kevin Love and built a core around a young point guard, Colin Sexton. And you could have traded Kevin Love to, I don't know, but a team with younger players and just get those younger players for the future. And
you could have traded him to the Suns, maybe.
Maybe to the Suns and
Wizards, Trailblazers.
They could have done the Trailblazers.
But I see your point. Regardless.
Yeah, regardless, I think that they should have traded him. And instead of just after losing LeBron and then trying to still be a playoff team with Kevin Love.
Stupid.
I think that's stupid. I think that they should have gone for a rebuild and maybe win a championship in like 10 years, 5 years, somewhere in between there. I just do not think 4 years for $120 million was the best investment for the Cavs in an older player, veteran, Kevin Love.
He's not a veteran yet, but I see what you're saying. By the end of his contract, he's gonna be a veteran. You know,
he's gonna be close to looking to retire. Like
close,
maybe one or 2 more years.
He's gonna be a role player by then, most likely.
Yeah.
Horrible decision. What the Cleveland Cavaliers should be doing right now is rebuilding around Larry Nance Jr., Rodney Hood, and Colin Sexton. They should not be trying to make the playoffs, try to get another lottery pick. Kevin Love, he lost all of his trade value now. Because NBA teams, they overpaid so many people that they don't have that much of a budget anymore. Most of them are over the salary cap. So, now, which team will take Kevin Love for $30 million a year over the next 4 years? He's a great player, all-star in the East. I'm not so sure about the West. But for $30 million, I don't know. If he signed a 4-year, $80 million extension, he would have been a great trade asset. A lot of people want him for $20 million. I'm not so sure about $30 million. Yeah, that should...
Yeah, it's kind of like Kyle Lowry. Nobody's going to want that contract now.
I don't even think anybody wants him for $10 million. I mean,
saying that Boogie got signed for 5.3. I mean, he did have an injury, but I mean, still.
I had a proposal in one of my videos. I said, unless you're a max player or making close to the max, if a team, let's say, DeMarcus Cousins signed with the Warriors, 5.3 mil 1 year. If a team offers you 300% of what another team offers you, you have to sign with that team. So if a team offered him $15.9 million a year, he would have to sign with that team. Or whatever teams are offering him $15.9 million a year. That would stop like people taking pay cuts to make a dynasty. Right? Because we know Kevin Durant took a pay cut. Klay Thompson probably has to take a pay cut this year. So that'll stop pay cuts and people will get paid what they're worth, and it would just make the league more fair, honestly. Clint Capella, speaking of re-signing, re-signs with the Rockets. 5-year, $80 million. 5-year, $90 million a year. First thing I gotta say about that is fire your agent. DeAndre Jordan is making $24 million a year this year. You could have easily gotten a 5-year, $120 million deal. I mean, he's not that guy to get you 20 points a night, but he's not Draymond Green, but he fills the Draymond Green role. He does everything, not maybe as much an assist, but he can rebound, score, pick and roll. Not that bad at defense, pretty good at defense.
Yeah, he's a player that you want on your team, because especially when you have James Harden and Chris Paul, you're going to want a bigger man down to get the rebounds for when they miss 27 straight threes again. But you are going to want a guy to get those rebounds on the three-pointers that they missed.
Right.
And he's a great player for that.
Oh,
he will most definitely get those rebounds.
And he's not
just
a rebounder.
Exactly. He also can score. He can also get down underneath and
screen stuff.
And then like lay the ball in, alley-oops. Can't forget about
small stuff like that.
Small stuff like that helps the team in every game.
Yeah.
And helps them win. And I mean, if Chris Paul was healthy, they would have most definitely beaten the Warriors last year.
I disagree completely, but we won't get into that discussion. But no, a lot of people believe in that. I see why people believe in that, but I firmly believe the Warriors still would have won that series. But regardless, he does the stuff you need somebody to do, right? Like the little stuff like rebounding, little like layups off pick and roll, makes the defense harder to scheme because now you have to worry about inside presence, outside presence. Because the Rocket system with Mike D'Antoni, you want a 3 or a layup. I don't know how Carmelo's going to fit into that because he's more of a mid-range shooter. Same with Chris Paul. These are small. It's about the Bucks. So I don't want to go over it too much because it's very small things. Trevon Duval and Jalen Morris signed 2-way contract with the Bucks. I'm not even going to lie to you. Don't know much about Jalen Morris. I know he played with the Hawks and their G League team, which I don't know what it is. Trevon Duval, though, I do watch a lot of Duke basketball because that's where I want to go for college. So,
of course.
Gary Trent Jr., he got picked 37th, I believe, to the Trailblazers. I believe. Don't take my word for it. But I personally, when I watched him, I thought he was better than Gary Trent Jr. I was shocked he didn't get drafted. He was supposed to go mid-40s. In college, he looked like he was undervalued. I believe he was a better shooter than Gary Trent Jr., and he was much more explosive and a better defender. Although people say his weakness is shooting, and he's a little undersized. He's probably going to need to switch from shooting guard to point guard to play in the NBA because he's only 6'2", I believe. Now the problem with these I love the Trevon Duval one. He played very well with the Houston Rockets in the Summer League. But Xavier Munford and Christian Wood. Christian Wood was first team all Summer League in the Summer League. He was better than people like Trae Young or Jaren Jackson Jr. who made second team. How you sign Jalen Morris but not Christian Wood? Or Xavier Munford, who the Herd traded about 2 first-round picks for. Herd first-round picks, which is their G League team. I'm just a little confused on the Jalen Morris one. Would have rather seen Xavier Munford or Christian Wood.
Honestly, I would have liked to see Christian Wood in the NBA. I mean, I didn't watch a ton of Summer League,
right.
But when I did, I really liked watching Christian Wood. I thought he was a great player. He was
dominant.
He was dominant. He was great at leading our Summer League team.
Right.
And, I mean, we did blow that game to the Sixers in the Summer League.
Oh, my. Don't mention that. Okay. That kept me up that night.
But I think that I would have really liked to see him in the NBA. Even if it's just, like, bring him up on, like, a 10-day contract or something. And see him play, like, 5 games or, like, 3 games. I would have just liked to see what he would have done if he would have helped the team at all.
Yeah, he was on a bunch of 2-way contracts with other teams like the Hornets. Also, just so you know, Harrison, he is a Bulls fan. And as you can see, rep it right now, rep the shirt. He's a he's a Bears fan and a Bulls fan. Cubs fan, too. You know, all the Chicago sports. You're from Chicago, right?
Yeah, I'm born there, so yeah, basically.
All right, I got you. Yeah, so that's kind of impressive that you know about that. I'm surprised you know about that. Shane Larkin, he signs a deal overseas. There's nothing to talk about there. He played a little bit with the Celtics last year, and by a little bit, I mean he played like garbage time minutes. He played horrible in the playoffs, I'm not even gonna lie. He was kind of undersized. He was like a pass-first point guard, but not very good. Now, when I say not very good, obviously it was amazing because he made the NBA, but I'm talking like NBA standards. Now let's talk about China, and we're not going to talk about politics, we're going to talk about basketball. Dwayne Wade signs with the Chinese team for 3-year, $25 million. Oh, no, excuse me. He doesn't sign with the Chinese team. Chinese team offered him 3-year, $25 million a year. Highly doubt he'll take it. What was his name? Stephon Marbury, whose shoes are Starburys for $20. You know, if you're broke, you want some basketball shoes, go get some Starburys. He actually played in the Chinese league. He advised Dwayne Wade, do not go there at all commercial flights. He said, they don't treat you like they do in the NBA. They treat you as if you're just another profession, right? You're not like an athlete. They treat you as if just an average person with their job whose job is basketball. Basically I advise him don't do it. Do you think he'll sign with the Chinese team, go to the Heat, or retire?
I think that he's going to play 1 or 2 more years in the NBA.
Mm-hmm.
I do not think that he will go to the Chinese team. I think that he's going to want to stay in the NBA because some people are questioning if he will be a Hall of Famer.
Right.
And I think if he goes to the Chinese team, he will not go into the Hall of Fame. And if you're Dwayne Wade, you want to go into the Hall of Fame, most definitely.
The only reason I think people discuss it even is because he was never the best player on those championship teams. There was LeBron, there was Shaq for a little bit. I still think he's a no doubt Hall of Famer, especially with the Basketball Hall of Fame, because they basically let anybody in. He has kids, he has a wife. I doubt they want to, go to China. Probably play 1 more year at the Heat, then call it quits. 2 more small things. Jahlil Okafor to a Chinese signs with the Chinese team. He's in the wrong decade in the NBA. Mm-hmm. He's a back to the basket player, similar to Greg Monroe. That's not how the game is played now. You have to be versatile, switch, stuff like that. Not big. Lamar Odom to China. Honestly, he just wants his name swirling around in TMC and garbage like that. Don't make much of it. I think it's a publicity stunt. Now let's talk about free agency. Nick Young, where do you think he should sign?
Well, he's definitely not going back to the Warriors.
Right.
I mean, he got his championship with them.
Rockets have a lot of interest, by the way. That's rumors.
I mean, that is true. He would be a good player to come off the bench for the Rockets.
I agree, except he's not that good at defense.
He's not that good at defense, but I mean, that's how Mike D'Antoni, that's how he coaches. It's a lot of offense and not a lot of defense.
That's true, yeah. He tries to outscore. Yeah. It's kind of like the Cavs last year. They try to outscore teams, right?
Yeah, also kind of like the Bucks for some of the season last year. They would score over 100 points.
The Bucks, they need to find their identity. They try to be a defensive team. Now they're trying to be an offensive team. They need to choose what they're going to do with their length and all that. I think they should turn into a defensive team. But,
I also kind of get that. But, I mean, for Nick Young, I think that the Rockets would be a very good place for him with the offense and defense. And just that's how he plays. He plays with more offense and not a lot of defense. And that's how the Rockets play. I mean, James Harden, he plays offense, but he doesn't play a ton of defense.
Right.
Same with Chris Paul. I mean, he plays more defense than James Harden, of course.
Chris Paul is actually a pretty good defender, but he's past his prime.
He's past his prime. He is going to want to win a championship. He has it.
Yeah.
He's going to want to score. I mean, I think that the Rockets would be a good fit for Nick Young, but he's probably not going to go to the East. I think that he won't go to the East.
I could see him going to, the Suns. I don't even know who their backup guards are. They have Devin Booker and... They have Devin Booker, Mikal Bridges.
Josh Jackson.
Who's more of a forward.
That is true.
But my point is, I don't really know who their backup guards are. Tyler Ulis just got released. I think you go with the Suns maybe, if they offer him a contract. I still don't know if the Suns are trying to contend or keep rebuilding after signing Trevor Ariza.
And then they also have DeAndre Ayton, the Suns.
Right.
They just picked him.
They have a lot of young. Devin Booker said he's done not making the playoffs, so that probably persuaded their decision to try and make the playoffs.
Mm-hmm. And now the Suns also now have just a young core.
They have good
Josh
players.
Jackson, Devin Booker,
Mikal Bridges,
DeAndre Ayton.
Devin Booker.
I already said him, but
oh, sorry.
Yeah.
My point. Yeah.
Exactly.
TJ Warren.
Yeah.
A lot of good players. That's
lots of good players. Nick Young would be good to come off the bench there as well. I mean, he's not gonna start anywhere. I don't think that he will.
Oh no, definitely.
Yeah, definitely not.
Yeah. He's a great shooter though.
He's a great shooter.
He can light it up,
I mean, he's either he has a great game or he has a horrible game.
Yeah, he's streaky, kind of like J.R. Smith.
Yeah, and I mean also the Suns aren't going to play a ton of defense. Like DeAndre Ayton at Arizona, he did not play a ton of defense.
Right.
I mean that's why they lost to Buffalo. in the tournament. They played no defense, and they couldn't score.
DeAndre Ayton played horrible against Buffalo.
He did, but I mean, in that Pac-12 tournament, he played amazing.
I didn't watch much of that, but honestly, from what I've seen of him, he's not much of a defender. So I see what you're saying about them trying to outscore teams.
And I mean, that's also, the NBA is just going towards more offense than defense.
Oh, definitely.
Like the team that's going more, like a lot more defensive than any other team, in my opinion, the Celtics.
They're very versatile. Except for Aaron Baines, all of their players can, except for Aaron Baines and Terry Rozier, all of their players can play 1 through 4. Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Gordon Hayward. That's actually a really good point. Yeah, they're a very good team because they're so versatile. Most of their players can play 1 through 4. So yeah, Greg Monroe. Do you even think an NBA team will sign him? Probably, but
I'm not sure. I mean, he jumped around a lot last year. Like, he was on the Bucks, and then he was on the Suns, and then he was on the Celtics, and then he was on, the Nets?
Remember how happy, like, the Bucks were when he signed with them? Because he got a lot of money from the Bucks. I think it was 3-year, $51 million. So the Lakers and the Knicks offered that to him too. So like he was like a hot commodity like 4 years ago. Now his career is doing like pretty much dead. You know.
But
wrong era. Like
that's true. But I think as we talked about earlier, the Lakers aren't super deep at center. That might be a good team for him to go to.
Yeah.
To back up.
Oh no, they actually have a couple young people, Yabusele and Ojale.
Yeah, the Celtics.
Only problem with the Celtics, if he goes Celtics,
I don't think that
screws up their whole versatility stuff.
He was already on the Celtics last year, though. I do not think that they will get him again. Mm-hmm. I think Lakers would be a pretty good fit for him.
Lakers. I can see maybe Wizards.
I could also see Wizards. The Wizards did just get Dwight Howard, though.
True, but I don't know who their backup is.
That is true.
And Dwight Howard might ruin the chemistry. They might want to get rid of him. Mm-hmm. You know.
There's a lot of question.
Right.
Maybe he won't go anywhere. I mean, we just don't know. We'll see. But I think the best fit for him, but no guarantees that this team will sign him. But I think that the Lakers be the best fit because they are not very deep at center like they are at guard.
That's a good point. Patrick McCaw, he's not that big of a player. He played all right with the Warriors last year. I think he might just sign with the Pelicans because they're a little, they lack depth at.
Yeah, and they just signed Ingram, right?
Pelicans.
Yeah, Pelicans.
Ingram.
No, who did the Pelicans sign?
They signed Alfred Payton.
No, like in.
Oh, Julius Randle.
Yeah, Randle. Yeah, I meant Randle.
Underrated signing, by the way.
Oh yeah, I mean.
2-year, $18 million.
Yeah, he should
more than that.
More than that. Like the Bucks signed Ilyasova for
3-year, $21 million. Although the third year isn't guaranteed.
That is true, but I mean.
Still. Too much.
Like on the.
I'd have loved 2-year, $10 million.
Exactly. Like, I think that more teams should have reached out to Julius Randle.
Same with Brook Lopez.
But I think that the Pelicans are looking good.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Anthony Davis has just been so dominant without Boogie playing.
He's very underrated.
Anthony Davis?
I think he's probably...
I mean, he was an MVP contender last year.
I think he's a top 5 player.
He's most definitely a top 5 player.
Right. Mm-hmm. Jamal Crawford, do you think he's going to get another contract? He was pretty productive last year. He averaged 10 points, but he's getting up there in age.
That is true. I mean, he was good with the Celtics.
Former 6th man of the year. He was, like, how long ago? 2 years ago? I mean... Yeah, 2 years ago.
Yeah, and then he got traded to the Cavs, and the same thing happened with Isaiah Thomas. I mean, Isaiah Thomas was injured, but they just didn't produce as much as they were on the Celtics.
Right.
I mean...
Yeah. He's still a productive player. He played 20 minutes a game last year.
Oh, wait, was he on the Celtics?
Last year.
Oh no, he's on the Timberwolves.
Yeah,
sorry.
right.
Yeah, but I mean, he's still good. But
yeah, he's still somewhat productive.
He's still somewhat productive, but he will get signed. I don't know by what team. But
exactly.
It's not going to be for a ton of money. It's going to be like
maybe the Pistons because they lost Anthony Tolliver.
That is true. The Pistons
Timberwolves.
did just lose him, and I mean,
although
the Pistons do have Blake Griffin and Andre Drummond, so
they don't have very good guards, but they're actually really deep at guards. They have a bunch of backup guards, 2 of which are playing starting minutes. Reggie Bullock, Reggie Jackson, Dylan Love with the Reggies, Ish Smith. They just in the draft they drafted 2 guards, Kyrie Thomas and I want to say Bruce Brown Jr. I know it was a guard. I think it was Brown Jr. something like that. Maybe Troy Brown Jr. But regardless, Jamal Crawford, I think that'd be a good signing with the Pistons. Corey Brewer, his career fell off. I don't think he's going to get a contract.
yeah, I don't think he's going to go anywhere.
Yeah, I mean, it's not much to talk about.
Yeah.
Quincy AC, no.
Yeah.
Not that productive with the Nets. And if you're not productive with the Nets, I mean, David West, maybe.
He might get signed somewhere.
Maybe.
I mean, but he's getting to the older side though.
Oh, very old.
Yeah.
He's been ring chasing a lot too. He signed with like Spurs to get rings. Now with the Warriors, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Allen Williams, no.
Yeah, probably
not. No. Joe Johnson, no.
Yeah, probably.
Actually, no.
Yeah, I mean,
he wasn't productive with the Rockets.
He was not that productive. I mean, he has
Rest
had.
in peace, ISO Joe.
He's had okay seasons, but
he had great seasons with the Hawks, but
he's
past his prime.
He's past his prime. Like
much better. He's like,
yeah.
he's done.
He's probably done. I mean, maybe he'll get some not very good contract with a not very good team.
Might get an overseas contract.
Maybe an overseas contract, but I mean, he's gonna retire soon.
Now, we're adding a new segment to our Outside Scoops. It's going to be called What's the Scoop? Basically, we're talking about the rumors or news around the NBA. So, Kyle Korver, there are rumors he's going to get traded. Sixers are heavily interested. What do you think about that?
I mean,
potential.
The Sixers are building their team around kind of like 3-and-D. And I mean, they also have Joel Embiid in there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he might be a very good team. I mean, very good player for that team because they have JJ Redick. They did just lose Ersan.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Ersan.
Marco.
Yeah, Marco.
They got Robert Covington.
Yeah, I mean, they have good 3-point shooters.
Oh yeah.
And then they also, it's like, they are kind of like the Rockets. It's a 3-point. They either shoot a 3-pointer or get a layup. They don't have a ton of mid-range except for Ben Simmons, basically.
And Ben Simmons is even a great mid-range. But
yeah, but Ben Simmons cannot shoot a 3. For his life, he cannot shoot a 3.
Hell no. All right.
So maybe that might be a good fit for Korver.
I
think that the Cavs might want to keep him.
Really?
I think that they will. I mean,
are they trying to rebuild, contend? We don't know.
We don't know. I mean,
Dan Gilbert.
It looks like that they're trying to rebuild, but at the same time, after signing Love back for 4 years, it looks like that they're also trying to contend in a weak Eastern Conference. I mean,
honestly, I'm not as fond of the Sixers as everybody is. I think they're the most overrated team in the NBA. They're only good. They're only like quality. Not. I don't. How do I word this? I want to say they're only a player that's contending worthy is Ben Simmons, and I already think people are overrating him way too much. He's a great player.
Not a rookie.
Hey, he's Donovan. No.
Mitchell should have gone the rookie.
Technically, he's a rookie, but they have to change their rule. He should not have been qualified as a rookie.
And I think that Donovan Mitchell played better than him in general. because
he had to carry more load.
He had to carry
In the
his
West?
entire team in the West
Don't forget Rudy
to the
Gobert.
5th seed, and then he carries his team past Westbrook and Paul George and a pretty
Yeah.
bad Melo. And then
Low key, Ricky Rubio outplayed Westbrook in that series. Just saying.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I wanted Donovan Mitchell to win it too.
I think that he should have, but I mean.
But regardless, the Sixers, Joel Embiid is injury prone. You can't count on him. They have a lot of shooters though. See, that's where the Sixers were smart. They know in order to win, you have to surround Ben Simmons with shooters. Now the Bucks, the reason they haven't been winning this is they haven't caught that memo yet. They're starting to catch it with signing Ersan Ilyasova and Brook Lopez. Now they're surrounding Giannis with more shooters because before all of their quality players were drive to the basket. Malcolm Brogdon, Eric Bledsoe, Jabari Parker, they're all drive to the basket. Now they're surrounding him with shooters.
And I mean, Chris Middleton, I think that he's just been getting better and better every year. I mean, he also plays absolutely amazing in the playoffs. I mean, he's one of the most underrated players in the NBA.
Oh, I think now he's starting to get his credit, but 2 years ago, last year, he definitely was. Also,
I mean, the Bucks also have Tony Snell, but Snell did underperform last year.
I disagree. Definitely.
He can shoot, but I mean,
I have him winning Most Improved Player this year.
Okay.
Next, by the way, next episode, which will be Saturday with Sean, and hopefully maybe if you can make it too, we will be doing the award edition. We'll talk about who he thinks is going to win MVP, Defensive Player of the Year, Most Improved, all of those awards. And we'll have our reasoning too. We're not just going to say who we think is going to win it. Regardless, Sixers, they're starting to forget about defense because if they have J.J. Redick and Kyle Korver, that's amazing, but none of them can play defense.
That is true.
Their only quality forward that can play defense is Robert Covington. I mean, you know. Tristan Thompson and the Draymond Green fight. What did you think about that?
I mean, it's just another one of those NBA drama things.
Right.
I mean, you
like
got
the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, the playoff thing. I mean, Draymond, I'm not very fond of him. I don't really like how he acts.
I love Draymond. That's just me personally. I love the Draymond Green, Patrick Beverly type of players. I try to get under your skin. Because that's how I try to play. You know, I always talk when I'm playing.
You always
I always try to get under people's skin.
True. But I don't like how Draymond acts. He acts full of himself.
Oh, very full.
Very full of himself. I mean, he's not even the best player on that team. I mean,
not even close.
Yeah, not even close.
Not even close. Probably the 5th best player right now.
Yeah.
Assuming healthy DeMarcus Cousins.
But will happen. I mean,
will happen.
Yeah. I mean.
Well, hopefully. I mean, Achilles tear.
That's hard to come back.
And a lot of Tracy McGrady, Kobe Bryant, a lot of other people. Just to give some backup context, Draymond Green was apologizing to Tristan Thompson
for how he acted.
Right, in the finals, all that stuff. Tristan Thompson kind of felt a little embarrassed because other people were there. Sucker punched him. LeBron and Durant tried to stop the fight, which, I don't know really what to think about that.
I mean, I feel like anybody would.
Who do you think was at fault? Tristan Thompson or Draymond Green?
I mean, Draymond was apologizing, so.
No, but yes, he was apologizing, but I think he didn't know the time and place. He's at like a party at the ESPYs when he apologized. If you want to do it over like text or DM the guy. You don't kind of like embarrass him a little bit.
That's true. I mean, like in a public place, you're not gonna just. I mean, you probably just shouldn't. You like.
I think.
Like make him kind of feel embarrassed and like that's how I think. But I mean, I don't really know who's at fault. You can really argue either way.
You really can't. A lot of people argue. I personally love the way Draymond plays and like his swagger sort of, but I personally think Draymond's at fault just because I think he didn't know the time and place to apologize. And I think he was kind of being just a little bit like not mocking, but like, oh, sorry for all that stuff. It was just fake, even though we won the finals.
Yeah,
Just,
I mean,
just
it's
not,
kind of like
not the right
apologizing, but also saying like, yeah, sorry that I did this after we beat you, and like he's also kind of saying, like even though he's kind of rubbing it in a little bit, even though he is apologizing, and it's also in the wrong place. I mean,
right. So, the Cavs, Cleveland is throwing a party after Tristan Thompson punched Draymond Green.
Draymond also said that they can have it.
Yeah.
Because
I don't know what to make of all of this. I mean, I feel bad for Cavs fans. Just have the party. The Browns suck. The Cavs are going to suck now.
I mean,
at least you got the Indians who...
I mean...
Dude, honestly...
They're good, but I mean, they're also...
They're in the what? Are they in the AL Central?
Yeah, they're in the AL Central.
The AL Central is horrible.
So bad.
They're 59-48, and they're the best team in the Central. I think both wildcard teams in the AL are better than the Indians. Like, record-wise.
Yeah, almost definitely.
The Mariners,
The Mariners and the Yankees are better than...
much better than the Indians.
And I think that they're also better than the Cubs right now. Actually, the Mariners...
The
Mariners
Yankees
have fallen.
For sure. Yankees are the second best team in the...
Actually, they might be third now.
Really?
The Astros.
But regardless, Roy's in the
regardless.
top 3.
Yeah.
Alright. Let's see here. JR is gonna JR. J.R. Smith threw a fan's phone into a construction site.
I mean...
He's probably gonna need to pay for the phone.
He's definitely gonna have to pay for the phone. I mean, he threw soup at the coach.
Yeah.
Like the assistant coach.
Just give context.
Yeah, I mean, just like...
Yeah, the guy was taking a picture of JR, probably making a meme out of it. JR is just sick of this. I mean, JR is gonna JR. That's
yeah. He's probably gonna get, I don't know. He's
a little bit of
He's gonna get a little bit of a fine. I mean,
most likely.
But...
Probably like $5,000.
Yeah, it's another one of those NBA drama things that's kind of funny.
That's what makes the NBA so good. Storylines. Like, that's why baseball has been... I don't want to talk about this too much because I know most people don't want to hear about this. But I've always thought about why is baseball regressing so much? Because they refuse to evolve the game.
That is true.
Yeah. Like, basketball, they celebrate technology, they use it in their game, replays, stuff like that. They try to get the fans involved, they have storylines. Baseball, they don't have any storylines. There's not as much competition. Sure, you might see brawls every once in a while. Too long. People nowadays are becoming impatient. Amazon, you get it delivered to your house. You don't want to go and shop for your stuff. You just want it directly. Like popcorn, microwave stuff, Nobody's as patient anymore. You get used to your phone. You don't wait for the newspaper to come the next day. Stuff like that, Yeah. There was becoming less patient.
Yeah, like for baseball, like you're not just gonna watch like a multiple 8 pitch at bats. I mean, that's why the MLB is having an attendance problem.
Right, their attendance has gone down, I believe, 18%. By the way, I'm a hardcore Brewers fan. Yeah, I'm from Milwaukee. I root for all the Milwaukee teams and the Packers. So, Bucks, Brewers, Packers. I think that's how it should be for every fan. I think they should either root for their hometown team, like you do, or the place they currently live in. Like, you root for your hometown team. I root for my hometown.
I mean, I also root for the Bucks, too, and the Brewers, too.
Because you live here.
Yeah, but, I mean, I don't live in Green Bay, so...
But it's kind of like their team. Because it's in the same state.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, the Cubs and Brewers, they don't have as big of a rivalry as, like, the Packers and Bears.
I don't expect you like the Packers.
Exactly.
That'd be kind of bad if you did.
Exactly.
Yeah, no. But I think you get my point.
Yeah, I get
all right.
Yeah.
Just my little rant over there. This is... I don't know what to... Actually, I do know what to make of this. Jabari Parker's comments on defense. Basically, this was a while ago. His first press conference with the Bulls. As you know, he signed a 2-year, $40 million deal with the Bulls. Second year is club option, so they don't have to pick it up. A reporter asked him a very fair question. They said, as you know, he's a horrible defender. And I mean horrible. He asked him, what's your plans to improve your defense? He responded, and I'm paraphrasing, he basically said, NBA players don't get paid to play defense. as a Bucks fan, this made me a little bit more happy. We didn't re-sign him because player with that mindset, not my favorite. I want to hear your opinions on it as a Bulls fan.
Well, I mean, the NBA is becoming a more offense-heavy league.
That's fair.
I mean, Jabari Parker has torn his ACL twice.
Mm-hmm.
So, honestly, I think $20 million a year for 2 years, even though the second year is the club option, I think it's a little much.
Really? I love that contract.
I mean, I think that you might want to make that, like, I don't know, like, even if it's just, like, $18 million a year, even if it's, like, a $36 million or, like, $38 million, I still think that $20 million is a bit over for what the Bulls should have signed him as. But with Lauri Markkanen, on the Bulls, and then
the Bulls are not smart. But I'm sorry to cut you off. No, keep going.
Yeah, I mean, Lauri Markkanen, he plays defense. Like, when the Warriors came into Chicago, did you see?
He's a white guy, so I'm not sure I agree with defense.
I mean, he locked down Steph Curry in that game.
What?
Dude, did you not?
Okay, I'm sorry. I didn't see that game. I don't watch many Bulls.
Okay.
I will this year, though, because they have an exciting team.
He blocked the ball into Steph's face.
Oh, yeah.
He plays defense, but he also plays offense. Markkanen. But I think that the Bulls are a bit more defensive heavy.
I disagree completely.
I mean, they have had a lot of injuries, and I mean, if they are gonna, if they are gonna kind of make their franchise and the rebuild around Markkanen, I think it's gonna be that they should make it more defensive heavy. So I mean, the NBA is kind of pushing more towards offense, but I also think that the Bulls might be pushing a bit more towards defense. But honestly, I don't know. I also don't really know which way the Bulls are going. If they're going to go around Markkanen, if they're going to go around Levine, if they're going to go around
Parker.
Barry, I don't know. Yeah. They have multiple players who had injuries or are young, and now they're just trying to put that all together into a team, and I just
hope for the best.
Yeah, I just don't know if that's going to go anywhere.
Personally, like, the contract itself is good for if it was any NBA team other than the Bulls. I would have rather taken a bad contract, ate it up, and get a first-round pick out of it, like the Carmelo contract. Because let's say Jabari plays amazing, he drops 35 points a game. Okay, you only have him for 2 seasons. You know, the risk and reward, like the risk and reward's very low for both sides. The risk very low because you only have him for 1 year if he sucks or gets injured. The reward's very low because let's say he turns into an MVP. Okay, you only have him for 2 years. You know what I'm saying?
But the Chicago is his hometown.
Oh, yeah. He wanted to be with Chicago.
Yeah, I mean, he would re-sign then, but
all of his Instagram posts had to do with Chicago. I honestly knew in my heart of hearts he'd eventually play with Chicago. I knew that was his goal. Like, that's what he wanted. Now, the Bulls, I think they forgot how to run a franchise.
Yeah.
Like, 4 of their 6 best players are power forwards. Bobby Portis, who's very underrated. I wanted the Bucks to take him instead of Rashad Vaughn that year. I promise I'm not lying. I remember crying that night. I swear, I was watching Draft 2014, I believe. Second, Lauri Markkanen, Jabari Parker, Wendell Carter. Now, I know some of them can play center, small forward, but still, that's too many power forwards. Now, you do have Chris Dunn and Zach LaVine, but your defense is horrible. Chris Dunn's an above-average defender. Zach LaVine's a well-below-average defender. Jabari Parker's a well-below-average defender. Lauri Markkanen's slightly average defender.
I mean, he's also young. Like, he might become better at defense than offense. You just don't know how.
Oh, but he's amazing at offense.
Oh, I mean, he's great at offense, but
Wendell Carter's a great defender, though. You know,
that is true.
I think
that's why I just don't know which direction the Bulls are trying to go in.
Personally, I think their defense is horrible. I think their offense is amazing. I think you're definitely going the offensive way. I just want to ask you this because you're a Bulls fan. So I see a lot on Instagram. There's a bunch of Bulls fan pages. Half think they're gonna make the playoffs this year. Half think they're not. What do you think the Bulls are gonna like? Do you think they're gonna make the playoffs? Not.
Well,
build
one
more
thing,
later?
Chicago fans, I mean, it's a big city. There's a lot of them. I mean, and some of them are also full of themselves. Like, I'm kind of full of myself with the Bears.
He
like,
said the Bears are going 16-0 last season. Just saying.
I say that every season, though.
I don't care.
That is true. I mean,
I really like Kevin White, except he can't stop getting injured. I like him out of West Virginia.
I mean, we're like 6 weeks away from Kevin White gets injured in the first game. I mean, but I mean, we're talking about basketball right now, not football. So I mean, the East, it's weak. I mean, you have good players, but you also have teams that have good players but don't really know how to run the franchise.
Yeah.
Like the Pistons, Knicks. I mean,
possibly even Bulls. Actually, yeah,
possibly even Bulls.
Fire guard packs.
I mean, ESPN says that the Bulls is a tier 3 team in the East.
Out of 5 or what?
I'm not sure out of how many, but there are only 8 teams in tier 1 through 3.
Oh.
So.
Oh.
I mean, the Bucks were
tier 4.
Bucks were tier 2 in that. But still, I mean, I think that they are not that good. I think that. I mean, the East, the playoffs are basically set if injuries don't take place.
I disagree.
I think this is you gotta punch the ticket for the Raptors. You gotta punch the ticket for the Celtics.
Oh, the top 5 is done.
Yeah,
it's just the order. Then
that's the order, but I mean.
But the bottom 3, you don't know. Okay, so let's say that Raptors,
Celtics,
Bucks, Wizards,
Sixers.
Everybody's so high on the Pacers. I'm like,
everybody thinks the Pacers are definitely making the playoffs. They got the 5 seed.
They're making the playoffs. But everybody thinks I'm a Pacers hater. I don't believe in them. Tyreek Evans gonna regress. Victor Oladipo's gonna regress. Yes, they're making the playoffs, but you're gonna be like a 6 or 7, 8 seed.
That's true.
And then the other 2, you never know. Probably Pistons, maybe Hornets. You never know. Maybe one team will jump in there.
Yeah, I mean, depending on how Porzingis plays, maybe the Knicks. But like the top,
he is injured for half the season.
He is injured for half the season, but he may come back. I mean, he may come back and
All-Star break, December.
Yeah, I mean, he's gonna take a month or 2 to come back.
Oh, more than a month or 2. But
still, I mean, then he's just gonna be playing how he was again. Is what I think.
Hopefully.
I think that he's gonna be like Chris Middleton when Middleton came back from his ACL.
You mean like the same player, even better, right?
Yeah, like I think that he might be able to bring that team to like the 8 seed. I mean, they did lose Beasley, but.
Yeah, I think he's very underrated, Beasley. He could drop like 18 a night. Well, on a bad team. On a good team, probably like 12 a night. Mm-hmm. A couple more things. Let's just talk about it so we can wrap up this episode. Thon Maker suspended 3 games by FIBA. That man, he's been drinking the protein shakes. I can tell he's getting stronger. He's now missing a day of leg day. Whoo-wee! Those kicks.
Yeah. I mean, he's tall, he's prone to injury, though. You know, that's the one thing.
And he even tried. The funny part is, he definitely deserved a suspension.
Most definitely.
And then he tried to peel it. Like on Instagram, he wrote like this whole thing about, I understand where you're coming from. There's no place in this in our game, but I don't think I should get suspended. I was like, whatever.
Yeah.
Hopefully, like he kind of almost. I know he's not a bad guy. Honestly, he's such a nice guy. He came from South Sudan, war-torn city, went to Australia, trained, went to Canada, now drafted in Milwaukee. Everybody on the Bucks love him. He's kind of your little brother. I know he's not a bad guy, but hopefully he kind of like learns from it.
Yeah.
Doesn't become known for this garbage.
I mean, he's
kind of like
really
Draymond.
young. He's really young. And there's even questions about how old he is. So.
Hey, yeah, you can't say he might be 47 for all we know. All right. This is kind of small too. Duke hosts LeBron James Jr. Bronny to an unofficial visit. All the best colleges want him. At least, by best colleges I mean, basketball wise.
Yeah, of course.
Kentucky, Duke, Kansas, all of those type of teams.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, they want him to market. Like, do you know the marketing side of it? Do you know how much revenue it would bring to the team if they have him? Because
they would bring a ton.
A ton.
Yeah.
The jersey sales, other teams would like. The games would be sold out because they want to see LeBron James or something.
Yeah, and I mean, maybe LeBron James will come to a game. You know?
Oh, probably.
Yeah,
He goes to the AAU games right now and he coaches them. Also, we don't know if he might even go to college because Adam Silver has said about the one and done rule, and there are like rumors and rumblings about him changing in 2020, 2021. He says he's looking into it, stuff like that. I'm not even going to really go over this. Kawhi Leonard ignored David Robinson's calls. We're done with the Kawhi and Spurs drama.
And same
He
with
basically
the
wanted
Raptors.
Yeah,
drama,
he basically wanted out of there. That's
Yeah.
Raptors looking to shed salary, aka getting rid of Kyle Lowry. Hopefully,
Yeah.
that's what they want.
Maybe Ibaka. I mean.
Yeah, he's been regressing.
Yeah, exactly.
Now this I do want to talk about. Jimmy Butler, Kyrie Irving, and a very accomplished third star are looking to join either the Nets or Knicks in 2019. And they've been talking about it. This isn't official, and an NBA insider said it. And believe it or not, it was a Bulls NBA insider. So they're probably close with Jimmy Butler. They might even know that. So my question to you is, who do you think the very, very accomplished third star is? I think that means it has to be a top 10 player. That's just me personally.
I mean, I get that, but you have Kyrie Irving who's going to be playing point guard. You have Butler who's going to be playing
Shooting guard.
So
you need a 3 through 5.
so you need somebody 3 through 5. I mean, you're not going to be looking at a guard. You're going to be looking at a forward or a center.
Yeah.
So, who I think that might be Nikola Jokic. Especially saying if the Nuggets do not make the playoffs this year, that's gonna be 3 or 4 years in a row where they're so close. But
3 years.
But the West is just so good that he might not go anywhere. I mean, he might. That's why I think it might be Nikola Jokic going with them to a New York team or Brooklyn.
It makes sense, but he's not a free agent until 2023. Like, I do see your point of how Nuggets are kind of trapped, but unless he requests a trade. Now,
well, the thing is, I don't think that if they go to the Knicks, I'm just saying, because Kyrie Irving has said that he wants to go to the Knicks.
Yes. Well, yeah.
I mean, so what? Maybe they trade Jokic for Porzingis, and then something else in there. That's what I think. So that Jokic is on the Knicks with Butler and Irving, and the Nuggets still have a good player, but Jokic gets out of the West, and that might be what he wants. I mean, that's what I think.
Personally, I thought I had to be top 10 player. Steph Curry, no.
Definitely not.
Kevin Durant, probably not.
No.
Maybe, but probably not because he's a free agent next year. Giannis, no.
No, definitely not. He said that he wants to win a championship with Milwaukee.
And at least he's not going to ask for a trade. At least he'll play out his contract if he does resign. At least
that is true.
I personally, James Harden, no. Too big of an icon. Personally, I think it'll be Anthony Davis. He's not a free agent until 2021. He might ask for a trade because he's been performing very well, but in the West, I don't even think the Pelicans will make the playoffs next year. He's not getting the talent surrounded around him. He might start to get frustrated. I think it's Kevin Durant. I think it's Anthony Davis. Although, most likely, now that I think about it, it's a free agent next year. And the top free agents next year are Kevin Durant, Kawhi, and Klay Thompson. I doubt it's Klay Thompson because he's a shooting guard. I think he's going to the Lakers next year. I wouldn't be surprised if it's Kevin Durant and Kawhi Leonard. And that brings me to the last thing we're going to talk about today, which was Kawhi Leonard is reportedly considering the Nets for free agency. That's the only team he's considering outside of LA. I mean, Kawhi Leonard doesn't seem like the guy who's really talking to other NBA stars. That might be the guy. I mean,
maybe.
You never know.
Seems like that guy's talking to his uncle more.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't know. I mean, because you hear Kyrie saying, I prefer Knicks. You hear Kawhi saying, I prefer Nets. And Jimmy, I mean, he's
saying he's not happy with the
Timberwolves.
Yeah, he said the nonchalant attitude and all that.
Yeah, like I feel like Jimmy Butler definitely wants to go back to the East. I think.
I mean, probably, yeah.
I mean,
you get more. I don't want to say clout, but you kind of do get more clout. You know, you become a more valued player for the East because there's not as many good players in the East. Team's most likely better. You're an all-star, you know, all that type of stuff.
Yeah. So, I mean, I still personally think it's Jokic because if they do go to the Knicks, I mean, they are not going to keep Porzingis. That's what I think. Porzingis is going to be gone.
I think that's their franchise player.
Yeah, but I mean, as you see with DeMar, there's no loyalty in the NBA.
That's true. I think, or at least from the management side of it.
Yeah.
I think they'll probably go to the Nets, not the Knicks, actually, because the Nets have more free agent flexibility because they have more cap space open. A lot of their contracts are getting off the books for next year, and you can always trade them. Also, one quick thing before we end it. Feel free to sponsor us, you know. Only 5 calories, 1 gram of sugar, you know. This is the stuff right here, you know. Gatorade, too much sugar. Powerade, too much sugar. You know, just pump the iron. You just exercise. You need a nice cold beverage. Buy is the way to go. Sorted flavors. Buy, sponsor us. You already know. We got you. Then on the video.
Yeah.
All right. See you guys next time.